Hey guys, it's me David and welcome back to week 12 of building Crait, guys. Alright, so first off guys, this video is coming out on a Monday, not a Saturday. I know it's really weird. I posted everywhere on social media that basically this weekend I was pretty sick, had a pretty bad cold. Wasn't the flu thankfully, but you can kind of hear me as we can go through the video. I've been recording throughout the weekend. When I feel like good enough that I can actually build Legos, I would go do it. So over the last 3 days, I've been slowly recording this this episode of Crait. And so you can kind of see the progress of me getting better throughout the video. So it's kind of funny. At this point, of course, I'm much better. Another thing you might notice is I've kind of like rearranged the camera, and you'll also see that Crait looks kind of different behind me. That's because in this particular segment, we rearranged the tables. We start doing some bigger things. We add the second table. We're going to start working on the trenches this segment. This is a huge episode. So I'm so excited. I know a lot of you want to see this, see Crait come together now that we've been kind of prologuing it for a little bit, with the wall especially. But now we're getting there, where this particular segment we're focusing on the trench design. So we're gonna like prototype a couple things, and I kind of don't want to spoil too much. I want you guys to see exactly my process about doing the trenches. So I don't want to talk too much about it right now. It's gonna be a pretty sizable segment. We weren't here last week. I was in New York doing the toy fair. If you haven't checked out those cool videos, it's 3 videos. It's the Kessel Run Millennium Falcon, a battle pack, and Yoda's Hut. Those were all on display for press at Toy Fair, and I got to do exclusive videos of all of that. So if you haven't taken a look at it, I basically kind of review the set there, kind of get to play around with it and everything. So if you want to see what the new, I guess that would be the spring 2018 Lego Star Wars sets, go check that on my channel down below. Another thing I just want to address before we get into the video is I found out that 70% of you, 70% are not subscribed watching Crait. So I highly encourage, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button down below. Only 30% of you have subscribed down below. And we are actually very close to hitting 250,000 subscribers, and probably in the next week or two I'm going to announce that there is going to be a special prize, couples prize actually, for hitting 250,000 subscribers. So if you want to be part of that, I would already hit that subscription and see what the video is coming out next week. Speaking of next week, it's also my spring break. Also want to talk about this in the beginning. That means Crait's going to get accelerated. That means we're going to definitely build a lot. I'm going to literally dedicate my entire spring break to YouTube videos, not just Crait, but some other things as well. So you can expect a lot of content coming out of my channel, hopefully over the next couple weeks. All right, now we can get in the video. Let's go, guys.
All right, guys, so starting this week off, as you can see right here, this entire rack of bins has been filled just about. There's a couple empty bins down below, but it's almost filled, and it looks kind of awesome in a weird way. I don't know, maybe this is just my inner Lego nerdness kind of geeking out, like, oh my god, look at all these Lego parts, what can I build with it? But yeah. Also, just want to let you guys know, I said this at the beginning of the video, but I am under the weather, so if my voice sounds a little nasally or, I'm messing up on words, my brain's a little fuzzy at the moment, so bear with me throughout this segment. I'm going to try to do my best while also having a bit of a cold. But anyhow, right now, I'm currently sorting these Pick-a-Brick cups. I've been sitting here for a couple weeks now, and so I'm finally emptying them out in these plastic bins or shoebox bins. Here's the actual name, like that's what the size, and it's 6 quarts, I guess. That's the name. You can get them at Walmart for like 94 cents. I love these bins. These are my favorite sorting bins. If you have a lot of Lego, go out to Walmart, buy like 50 of these and you'll be set, honestly. And then if you have like shelves like these, I think I bought these shelves off Amazon. I know a lot of people ask me about that. I tend to match these bins with these shelves, and you can stack these bins on top of each other just like Legos. But these, I think these shelves cost like, I want to say like $35. And then again, you're only spending like $1 per bin. So for less than $100, you can get quite the organization system. And then I think I told you guys last week that this costs, I think the metal frame, the actual thing that these shelves hang on, was like $150, and then the actual bins were like $45 or something like that. So It is a little pricey, but considering like this Lego set right here is like $170, and I'm sure a lot of you have that, I don't think it's a stretch to spend $100 or $200 on organization systems for your Legos parts and stuff like that. Anyhow, back to the organization. So basically I'm just kind of going through this and putting, you know, certain parts into certain bins. Pretty self-explanatory. It's a pretty efficient system. Takes about 15 to 30 minutes to sort each bin or each pick-a-brick cup, which isn't so bad. So that isn't terrible. But yeah, no, this wall looks really awesome in my opinion. You have all these parts, and I'll just kind of quickly go through them so you guys can see what exactly I'm ordering. And you'll see how all of these parts eventually will play out throughout the Crait mock. So very exciting. Tons of Bricklink orders came, so that's why all of these shelves are actually filled. One particular Bricklink order, I ordered a bunch of these 2x2x3s, I think is what these are called. I have them in white and I have them in red. Those will prove very useful in the future, so I'm very excited about where this is going to go. This looks awesome. I'm going to continue sorting, and I'm actually going to get this whole table cleared off, and we're going to do a lot in this segment. So without ado, let's continue on. And there it is, guys. Like I said, completely transformed the room, and now the second table is attached to what we've been working on the last couple weeks. So currently what I'm working on is I'm starting to build another red wall right here, of course, to continue what we've done here. But as I'm building this and also going to build it on this side, I also have to take into fact where these trenches are going to go. So the next thing I'm going to do is lay out the trenches across here and even start figuring out how I want the trenches to look. But another thing I'm going to do is this crazy looking thing is what's going to help me prop up the wall. It's not the final thing that's going to hold the wall, obviously, but it'll help me get the wall up and into place in terms of how high it needs to be above the ground from here. It kind of gives me a better visualization of how is the wall too high or is it too low? It gives me a good idea that way. So I'm about to do that as well as the trenches. So yeah, no, this is just super exciting, honestly, seeing both tables like this. It's starting to get bigger now. Of course, this table right here will make its way onto the end. Ooh, almost bumped into the light. But this table right here will make it in eventually there, connecting, of course, being all three tables. And as you can kind of see with the floor and all that, I have cleaned up everything. It's definitely a little bit more organized around here, which is pretty good. So yeah, I'm just using this particular map right here to figure out where these trenches are going to go. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like one long trench kind of around here, and we're going to have two turrets, I think, and two smaller turrets. So we shall see. And then I do want to make like an underground thing, like an actual like something. That's the thing, is if I make an underground trench like you see in Battlefront, you're not going to be able to see it if it's like in the middle. So if I did the trenches, I would probably do it on the sides right here. And I might actually save that until the final section right here, which would of course be this table once it's connected, when we get to that in probably, I don't know, anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks from now. Maybe a bit longer. But yeah, I think I might save the underground like things for the final section. But we shall see. Mainly because there won't be much going on the final section. This section has a lot going on. You have all the trenches and the turrets and stuff like that. The final section is literally just snow. Well, not snow, but salt. And so to make it a little bit more interesting on the sides of it, I think that's where the underground like base kind of trenches and all that would definitely appeal more there. But yeah, so I'm going to prop up the wall, guys. I'm going to try to lay out a trench to give you guys a better visualization. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like right now. All right, guys, so I have the wall on the stilts now, and it looks pretty cool.
Now, I just want to make it very clear that these stilts that you're seeing right here are not the final thing. But the height where it's at right there, from the ground here to there, I think that is pretty final. I might take it up like maybe 2 more bricks, but I think right there is a, let's see, where's a minifigure when I need it? Here, let's put C3PO of all people. But I think that's a pretty good height right there. Actually, granted, he'll be one little thing up since the salt pieces aren't there. So there's a minifigure, and I think that's plenty of height plenty of height differential from C3PO's head to the top of the wall. Yeah, no. Now I think it actually, there will be feet right here on the bottom of the wall, so maybe 2 more bricks up, but I think right around this height is a good sweet spot. So let me just show you what's kind of going on behind here. Basically, it's just sitting on 3 key points, and I want to make this very clear to everybody because this is going to be important later on as Crait continues to get bigger, is that you have 3, I guess you could say, pressure points where the weight is most important, where weight is being carried for the wall. So we have the end here, we have the other end, and then we have the middle. The middle is very key. Each end will be very easy to hold the weight because there'll be stilts and stuff to hold it on each one of these ends. So I'm not worried about that. It's the middle is the tricky part. And so you can kind of already see how I've already started here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Technic structure to basically act as a beam, a sideways beam, to take all of the weight that is going, all this weight that is going right down to this pressure point, and it's being hoisted by this beam right here, and it'll be built out, and it'll be a lot stronger looking than it is right now, but it'll be hoisted out to about here. It'll cut off here, and then there'll be a larger beam that comes across, and that will hold the wall weight up. The key thing is, again, the wall is supposedly supposed to be removable. That'll be tricky making that removable, so I have some ideas how I can do that, but there will be this large beam that sits between that'll be all the way up here, and it doesn't matter because you only see a part of the wall. There'll be a large beam, and all that weight will be held up by that beam. So that's how that will work. So if you were wondering, how am I going to hold all this weight right here? Technically, you could have enough weight between each of these, but the problem is the way the slopes work, all this sloping, the weight is just very funky in terms of how it's distributed between everything. You could act it as a bridge where you have 2, you have 2 poles or 2 stands holding up the weight, but because of the irregular balance of how it's vertically aligned with the sloping is what makes it need this middle beam to have that extra pressure point right here in terms of holding the weight. All right, now the other thing I just want to show right here is the inside of the wall. This isn't final at all. This is just some prototyping I just wanted to show you guys. But the inside of the wall, I want to have these particular pieces. This looks very similar to the actual inside of the wall from the Battlefront map. This isn't final again, please. Like, I'm sure I'll hear a lot of people, this looks like crap. Trust me, it's not the final version. But the idea is kind of there, which is I want these, I guess I don't know what they're exactly called. They're like 6x1x5 with like a cross in it. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, so these particular pieces I want to have sloped at an angle going downwards with the wall, and that'll kind of just that'll just take over the entire section right here, and that's how it's going to cover up all of this weird stuff that you're going to see, all the Technic stuff. And it's going to come out a lot further than where it's at right now. It's probably going to come out to about here and kind of do this like that. So this is the idea, is to have things like this. There's 2 different ways of doing it. This one right here, I just have it on this thing. They're kind of just sitting there. I would have to connect these to each other somehow. This one's a little bit better. It's just using a
flexible pull right here, and it's just kind of connected with clips, clip 2x1s. So that's what you're seeing right here. I think this is the better version, but regardless, I just wanted to show a different way about going with this type of design. So that's what I'm thinking for the inside of the wall. This isn't something we really have to worry about, honestly. We haven't even finished completing building the wall, so this is kind of a little far ahead of myself, but I did want to show this to you guys now that I am thinking about how I want the inside of the wall to look like. That is something you should take into consideration when you're building giant things. Don't think of just how it's going to look on the outside, but also the inside, so that way once you get the outside done, or you just get the, you know, what needs to be done, and then you're like, oh no, I needed to have this for the inside, now I have to go back and rebuild it. That way I'm saving myself the entire trouble by worrying about this right now. So yeah, no, it's very cool that I think the wall is on the stilts and all that. I think that looks pretty great. I'm sure a lot of you will say it should go higher, but honestly, I think 2 bricks higher will be perfect, but any higher would look a little strange. And then what's even better is where it is right now compared to where the end of the mock is. It's perfect. It's exactly where I want it to be. Even granted, it's going to go up another, I don't know, it's going to go up to about here as the top height. Even at that top height, I think we'll have plenty of extra room here for beams and such, and this is exactly what I was hoping for. This is why I put it on the stilts, is to get a better idea of how this rock wall is going to come up and form around it. You can kind of get a better idea now that it's on the stilts, but this is good. This is very good, honestly. All right, so we're going to move on to this section. I talked about the trench, so without ado, let me go ahead and start showing what I want to do with that. All right, guys, so this is what I have been working on right here. So I've built 2 platforms. I didn't even cover all of them with the tile. And then you have the salt pieces right here. So you can kind of see I've started building a trench. Just trying, this is definitely not a final trench, by the way. Don't judge me off this. It's literally just something so I could figure out, all right, so this, it's going to be 3 bricks high. It's going to need this much space, yada, yada, yada. And it helps me figure out where the minifigure is going to be standing in order to get the correct distance over the salt pieces, so it doesn't look weird or anything like that. So this helped me figure that out. This also gave me a better idea, you know, what this is going to look like. And then what I've also been doing, as you can kind of see, I've been putting this line down like this, and that is because right here, as you can kind of see, this is the Battlefront 2 gameplay with the ski speeder jumping out. When you see the overall battlefield, there's 2 side trenches here and here, and then there's this one long one in the back where the base is. But where the long one in the back, it's actually, as you can see, it's like straight right here, and then it's perfectly straight this way and this way, but it's at an angle. So I went ahead and put that down in brick form to see exactly what that looks like, and that's what you're seeing right now. And then I was like, you know, would this be okay doing it like this kind of zigzaggy brick thing? And, you know, that's what I was, that's part of the reason why I was started building here, is I didn't like how it would just kind of move weirdly. I think it would be better like in here, how it's just one straight thing. So that's why on this side, I have put a straight line right here. That's what this is. That's what this is acting as. So it kind of gives you, look at the gray line right here, it kind of gives you a better idea of what I'm thinking. And then I went ahead and built a more detailed trench, and that's what this is right here. Now again, this is not a final trench. I'm definitely still working on it, and the colors and stuff like that are not final either. I'll probably change the bottom pieces here to light gray instead of dark gray. I was kind of messing around with these particular pieces to see what this would look like. I really am just trying to figure out the kind of style I want to go for with the trench, and I'm not quite certain yet. I even kind of put a little ladder right here and everything, just like in the real trench. It's not the greatest trench in the world, I'm aware, but it is a good just kind of beginning thing, something I can get, you know, an idea. This is about the size I want it to be. I wouldn't want it any larger or kind of any smaller. And this is like, you know, if I were to line it up with this over here, it lines up pretty well with
the separation I had imagined. It's actually a tad bit smaller, which is good. And it, you can kind of get a visualization of that. So if we take this right here and we just actually put it on right here like that, it actually just attaches on this line, then that's ideally what I'd want. Is it would be straight here, and then you'd have this type of trench going sideways all the way to the end right there. So just imagine this continuing that way, and the same with that way. So that's kind of the vision. That's the idea. It's going to be a little bit tricky with these cutting edge corners here, and definitely here on the edge. But I think it's possible. I think it's doable. I think it's possible to do it this way. It definitely creates a challenge doing a zigzag. I mean, honestly, guys, the easy way out is to just make it one long straight line. But hey, that's not what I'm about. I'm all about complication. Am I right? It creates a challenge, and I think it would make the mock a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more interesting if it is actually going indeed sideways like it's shown here. I think this is a good way about doing it, is what I have created. I think this is probably the best way of doing it. Now, in terms of how this will work, in terms of, with the normal plates, because you'll have, get one of these. You'll have a bunch of these, it's stacked in normal height, so you'll have these weird angles. So what I'm going to do most likely is I'll probably fill in whatever the gaps between these big brick plates are. I'll fill it in with tiles as much as I can, and then hopefully any gaps that you see going down to the base plate should be covered up by the actual tiles. So even though there will be some gaps, I think that these kind of covering up between these two, kind of bridging the gap right there, I think should solve that issue. When you have, say it was like this gap that you're getting here, I'll try to fill it in as much as I can with tiles, but anything left over, I think the actual salt pieces will cover that. So once again, that is one of the advantages of having these pieces over doing a different style of salt techniques. So that is nice, actually. One of the disadvantages is basically you have to count where these salt pieces are going to be on here and stuff like that. So it's a pros and cons to everything, am I right? But yeah, I think this looks really good, honestly. I think we're off to a really great start. I'm going to continue to prototype the trench here and get something I like more, and I actually want to make a longer version. And I actually might want to start at least on this end so I can get an idea of how it'll kind of come over. Now, in terms of, let me just take this back off. In terms of this actual trench, I really like the use. I think I saw somewhere online. Other people have made lots of versions of the Crait trenches, and something I saw that was was a good technique was using wedge pieces and kind of stacking them up to get this different rock terrain. Because the problem is you have 2, maybe 3 bricks high right here, and you're trying to get a lot of detail without taking up a lot of space this way. So using wedge plates and stacking them up different ways along the side here is definitely a really good idea. But I tried to take that a step further. I don't have many of the wedge plates right here. I only have 3 in red. So I also tried to mix in some other slopes, but I think ideally on the final trench, I would like a lot more wedge pieces mixed in with all this other stuff. I'm not sure about this piece right here being continued all the way down. Let me know down in the comments whether you like that. Again, prototype trench, not final. It will definitely be different looking than what I have here. But again, I think it's a good start. It's something good to come off of, but it's definitely not the final version nonetheless. So yeah, I think that looks good. But yeah, just imagine this kind of going all the way this way, and then you'd have it kind of straight here and all the way that way. And then of course we would have the turrets. I have this right here. Obviously this is not the actual turret that I'm going to have. It'll be a little bit bigger than this, but you'll have that next to that. Again, I'll probably use the turrets when we have this slant right here. I'll probably use the turrets right here and cover up the gap that'll emerge between that probably. But yeah, no, this is going great, guys, honestly. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. All right, guys, so I made a different trench version. So here is a different version. Here's the one I just showed you just a little bit ago. I'll go ahead and line it up right here just to show you. It's pretty much the same exact size when you put it side by side like that. So yeah, but as you can also see that it looks completely different on the inside. So this right here, by the way, is just kind of holding the salt piece in. It's just a weird little contraption. It just helps me figure out, okay, this is the height of where the minifigure is shooting. This is where the gun needs to be able to get over. Helps me figure that out. But basically, you can kind of see I left this open on this side so you can kind of see what's going on here. A lot of different layers of bricks are being put on right here. I'm not sure right here particularly if I want to like put something like this in, or like an actual big pipe or something. I think accurately this would be red, not gray, but I just have it as gray right now. But yeah, as you can see, it's pretty layered right here. I kind of like this version. So the way this would work, I'll take the minifigure off, is that you would have this type of design going all the way down with like this little portion right here would be the completed part. And then maybe add some tiles or something under there, maybe some more rock detail. Who knows, maybe some more wedge pieces. But that's what this is kind of doing here. And then on this side, it's pretty bland. It's just, you know, some slopes and stuff. Nothing too interesting. And then the design pattern right here is a bit different. I'll go ahead and take this over and just kind of compare the two so you guys can see. I guess it would... Let me turn this one around like that. So there you go. So put our minifigure back here. There's the two designs. You know, to be honest, I like aspects from both designs here. I'm sure a lot of you will be like, okay, this is more accurate how wide the part where the figures are standing, but this has better details around here and, you know, yada yada yada. So I think both have pros and cons, and I think if I take a combination of both of these, I should end up with something pretty good. Honestly, I think the thing that's lacking between the two trenches is grittiness. I think it needs a grittiness feel that it doesn't have right now. It looks too clean in a way, and that's kind of hard to achieve, of course, with Legos, because it's very, you have such a you know, set color tone and palette of colors. So I mean, the best way you could imitate grittiness with Legos is usually different colors. So that would be dark red, maybe like a burnt orange or something. But it would definitely be the dark reds, and I've tried to implement it here, but I haven't really implemented as much over here. I think dark red wedges plus regular red could be a nice match. We'll see. I'm definitely going to order a lot of wedge pieces because I think that'll create a grittiness that we are kind of lacking here. Again, I have a couple right here, but it's not enough. Not what I'm looking for. I actually really like this staircase design. I know it's not super accurate to the one, but I mean, I kind of like it a lot. It's really simple, and it looks really good. Like it gets the job done really nice. And the problem with the staircase design is it's kind of like actually built in, from what I could tell from the pictures, is it's kind of like built into the trench, and that's a little tricky when you're working with such a limited amount of space. So, I mean, the staircase design is not complete, but I definitely like this regardless of it not being super accurate. I'm not a big fan of this after a little bit of time. I think, you know, something more like this right here would be better than what I've done here, but I don't know. This is why I want you guys' feedback. You know, we'll call this trench number 1. We'll call this trench number 2 right here. So down in the comments below, guys, which one do you like better, 1 or 2? So this is 2, this is 1 and 2. Or do you like a combination of 1 and 2? Do you think what I'm saying is right? Do you think that there is a lack of grittiness? Do you think that there needs to be some type of grittiness detail to both of these? Or, you know, basically make a version where it's a combination of both and add that grittiness. I think that's where the perfect trench will come out of, is adding things from both of these designs and adding that one bit of grittiness. And I think that should end up to something where we all like it. And so yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards this one. I'm sure a lot of you will agree that this one looks a little bit better than this one, but at the same time, there's still aspects from this one that I like. So it's tough. It's a tough decision here. They're very different trenches in terms of, like, you know, what they're doing. But, you know, there's aspects from both that I like. So, all right, well, that's going to be it, guys. We're going to go ahead and head out to the end of the video. This has been a wonderful Crait video. I've been working quite a bit on these trenches, and I think we're getting something pretty good going on here. So let's go ahead and end it out. All right, so that was the video. I personally like the idea of using both 1 and 2 of the trenches. I think both designs are pretty solid, but I think a combination of the two and adding a little bit more grittiness will perfect the design, and I think a lot of you will agree with that. I'm definitely looking forward to your feedback. If you have like an LDD, a Lego Digital Designer file that you want to make of like the trenches that I've made, and like kind of do your own spin on it and send that to me of what you think I could improve on, I love those. Those are very helpful because I can actually visualize what a lot of you talk about. Some of you will write down the comments below, be like, oh, you should do this and that. It's kind of hard to interpret what you're saying. LDD files are definitely the best way. I love getting those on my email. I get those every now and again. You guys are fantastic. Honestly, the best fans in my opinion, but hey, I mean, that's just me. But yeah, so I put out the 3 Toy Fair videos. I'm also going to put out another video about Toy Fairs that's nobody's really covered on YouTube, so that'll be exciting. So if you haven't checked those videos out, check them out. Next week for Crait, we're going to definitely continue the trenches, and we're probably going to continue the wall, if not next week, the following week. We're going to get that done as well. So I'm very excited. We took 2 weeks off in February, so it was like Crait like the second week of February. Now the Crait here at the very end. There was 2 weeks we took off, so a lot of catch up needs to happen. So over these next couple Crait segments, you're going to see an accelerated growth of building. At least I hope so. I've started putting in the Bricklink orders, so hopefully they will all show up on time, because sometimes they don't, and hopefully that will pay off in terms of the Crait segment. So again, I said this in the beginning of the video, definitely subscribe. I was really like just surprised that 70% of you guys are not subscribed. I don't know if that's because you don't have a YouTube channel or a YouTube account or whatever, or it's just, you know, you're just clicking, you know, I guess, I don't know. It just surprises me as all. I thought it would be maybe 50-50, 60-40, but 70-30. That's quite a shocker, honestly. But yeah, no, like I said at the beginning of the video, there will be a huge surprise for 250,000 subscribers. That's 250,000 subscribers, guys. That's pretty remarkable. Honestly, I don't want to get too much on the sentimental route. That is for another YouTube video, but that's very awesome that we're closing in on that count. And, you know, to the people who are watching Crait later on, you know, it might not even be 2018, might be 2019, or whatever year, whatever month you're watching this. Who knows what my subscriber count at that point is. Could be way past 250,000 subscribers. I hope so. All right, so next week, again, trenches, hopefully the wall. And we're definitely going to continue laying out this next section. So I think a lot of you have been wanting to see this. It's finally here. I didn't want to spend too much time on focusing on the mountain part, because that is kind of boring. I'm definitely going to be working on that over the next couple weeks, but I might not be showing it as much. I think that's something I'm going to do in the background, or I might just do time lapses of. I don't really think I need to go into detail how I do that mountain stuff, because it's very similar to what I did with Kashyyyk. So if you want to see step by step how I do mountain building, then check out Kashyyyk. All right, guys, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I apologize if I was like nasally and sniffy and kind of like gross in the beginning of the video, but as you can kind of tell by the end of the video, I got better. And I do also apologize for posting this on a Monday, not a Saturday, but again, I was just way too sick to get the video done on Saturday, so I had to push it over the couple days and finish it out through the weekend. Crait will be back on next Saturday. You will only have to wait, I guess it would be 5 days from now instead of 7 days for the next Crait segment. So again, stay subscribed if you haven't already subscribed. And that's going to be it, guys. Hope you have a great and wonderful day. Bye-bye.